how many of you do not use PowerPoint or Keynote? Everybody uses? How many of you do not use PowerPoint or Keynote? Do not. So all of you are using either PowerPoint or Keynote? Good guys. Prezi, okay, that's fine. But you're basically using something that's tailor-made from, okay, if you are using PowerPoint or Keynote, or even Prezi, there are some things that you just don't want to do. And these are very basic no-nos in the world of PowerPoint, Keynote, and whatever presentation happens. People tend to put every word they're going to say on the PowerPoint slide. Memorize your talk, alternate space your slides, crowded, wordy, important, revolution on its schedule before you even reach the bottom of your. Yeah. That's what a lot of people, when you have 3 minutes, you tend to try to put everything you've done on your slides or whatever you want to present. I'm trying to get you to understand, if you're going to do slides, there's just some basic notes. We'd rather see also you come up with other creative ways of doing the presentation. Remember, the jury acts somewhat like future investors for your product or whatever creative product that you have or service that you're creating by tomorrow. Spelling. Many people do not run spell check. It's a big mistake. It makes you look stupid. So even if English is not your first language, you have spell check. Although not all the spell check actually gives you the right spelling. But try to be sure that you put things on your screen that you mean them to be. Okay? So if there's a red line under it, you better check. Bullet points. Avoid excessive bullet pointing, only bullet key points. Too many bullet points and your key message will not stand out. In fact, the term bullet points comes from people firing on That's one of the problems when you use ready-made presentation tools like Keynote or PowerPoint, because they tend to come to you and they say, we have a ready-made template for you to use it. And you only have 3 minutes. And you're not doing a presentation where you're going to have 50 slides, 40 slides, 30 slides. No. 3 minutes. 3 minutes is something that you really have to be creative and try and find something to do. So what slides are not, they're not reports, remember? You don't, if you had a feasibility report, you would not be moving that report to your slides if you're using slides. They're not normal spreadsheets. If you have your financials on your spreadsheets, you don't just put them there. There's another way of presenting spreadsheets if you want to make impact. And it's not print. It's not for careful reading. Whatever, if you start using slides, you have to be careful. Again, color. You are sometimes the presenter and you're sometimes the audience. Okay? So sometimes you can sense when colors just don't seem right. You have to step back and look at them again. Look at this. Red on blue. Can you read that? Is that going to be impactful for your presentation? Blue on red, even worse. So there are some color schemes that you just don't do. Low contrast, white on yellow, yellow on white, black on blue, blue on black, black and blue. If somebody starts beating you up, then you go back. But these are things that you don't do. So when you start using a presentation format that uses the screen, you have to be careful. Colors on screens are different than colors that you see in nature. The mixture of colors on screens are also different. The mixture of color on screens are the mixtures of light. They're not the mixtures of paint, foil paint. Okay? Clash of colors, background. This can lead to distraction, confusion, headache, nausea, vomiting, even loss of bladder control. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't want to do that. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. I can't even read it myself. Information tangle. You don't want to start doing something like this, showing, how smart you are. I came up with a formula. This really solved my problem. So, I know it's going to be interesting. They just want to see, how did you get there? What was the basic concept? Now, this one guy, Don Macmillan, look him up. Some of these things I picked up from him. Don Macmillan goes into a font analysis. How do you use fonts? Again, if you're using a representation format like PowerPoint.
Okay.
How do you use fonts actually reflects back on what kind of person you are. If you like to use Korean, supposedly you're an organized person, very structured. If you like to use Japan, you're probably artistic. Probably. If you like to use Times New Roman, you're lazy, apathetic, unhumanitarian, always use the default. Again, if you like to use Manuscript, you're a horrible speaker as you try to hide it with a hard-to-read font. So, some people watch from the back, you watch from the front. You have to make sure the fonts come out. Franklin told him you're probably very pale and love to wear black. You're a nerd, and you don't have glasses. So basically, be very careful when you use fonts. When I'm on PowerPoint, I usually go with sans serif. Sans serif is the one without okay, this is sans serif. Franklin Grove here is sans serif because they don't have the little weird things that Times Roman has. That's why headers are very, very well read in sans serif. But anyway, those are just some of the fonts. There are other fonts that will come out that can analyze. Font no-nos. Tiny ones are unreadable. So if you're doing a presentation using PowerPoint or Keynote, you have to make sure that they're readable from the back of the room on this screen, as large as it is. Capital letters. They're hard to read. How many of you read the newspaper every other day? Or you read something on the internet, the news, the TikTok.com or whatever, most of them, or whatever. Can you imagine if what you were reading were all in capital letters? Would you be able to read it? No. And don't use a complicated font because you like the looks. Again, it tells how the character is. Okay. Again, these are some. Try to get your thinking out of the box. Once you have a huge task, 24 hours. First of all, you have to get together with your team. You have to be able to work out, okay, which of us in our team is going to be good at what? And how are we going to contribute and work together with each other? That's already one hurdle. The next hurdle is trying to be creative, trying to be innovative, in trying to find a solution for the challenge. That's another hurdle. The last hurdle, which will actually break or make your whole creation, is actually how you're going to present it. And how creative will you be in presenting it? Okay? This year I'm trying to look at innovative ways of presenting. Of course, you have your prototype. That's already one innovative answer because if you have a demonstration of your prototype, that's already different from just a normal PowerPoint. But you also have choices, and these are some ideas that are actually, if you're really good at scouring the internet, finding ideas, they have huge offensive ideas. The usual slides when people are in the box, now these days it's just blocked. Because PowerPoint, Keynote, they give you everything. All you have to do is put the slides. In the end, most investors will say, okay, another one of this. Remember, there are 9 groups of you tomorrow. If you're around number 7, number 9, the jury's going to be, oh no, another one. So you're going to have to get their attention. The minute you walk into the room, the minute they say go, the minute you really have to grab the attention that you are different. one idea is use a metaphor or a comparison. It helps communicate your concept deeper. For instance, let's say you have a marketing strategy. One of the things that you will have to present is your marketing or business plan, is your marketing strategy. Compare it with another. If you look for Steve Jobs' presentations on YouTube, on tech.com, you see how he uses comparisons. When he first introduced the iPod, when he first introduced the iPhone, when he first introduced the iPad, he was always comparing things. In the end, it really made a difference. Another idea is what they call a memory hook. A memory hook, it helps explains your key points. It makes the audience remember it because it links something together. This is an idea that this is a restaurant owner. He wanted to present to some bankers, and he used a fork, which is one of the things that he uses in the restaurant. And he said, my 4 keys of success. And he just stuck the fork in front of the investors. And he said, it's high quality services. Those are ideas. So not necessarily a PowerPoint, but you can just put it there in front of the investors and say something. That's just one idea. Anybody else? Idea number 3. Now, I know that when you use PowerPoint, you don't just move your Excel across. You don't use a spreadsheet and put it there. But sometimes, if you're good at simulations, what if? Okay, if I put in $100,000 and if I was selling things like 500 cases a month, how much would I get? If you could make simulations like that on Excel and you would be doing things differently, you could probably do that. So if the dollars are important, sometimes the what-if scenarios can be shown on Excel. But you also have to do that in such a way that it's interesting. Okay. The other idea is using a demonstration, which actually, if you make your prototype tomorrow, actually it's already like a demo, or the prototype is a model of your solution to the challenge. You're already one step ahead here, but sometimes if you can make it sort of like work in a simple manner, it's also interesting. Okay? This one was a simple one. So this was a sports shop, and he was trying to show the difference in market share between his shop and the shop next door. So he used a ping pong ball and a basketball. That's how the difference was. Now, another one is to use activities. Now, within 3 minutes, I'm not so sure if you're able to do that. But if you have activities, or if you could show something to the audience, you get them to connect in what you're trying to say. So it helps make your key point, what you really want to say about your solution, actually interesting. For instance, you know this game where you put the blocks up and you take out the Jenga blocks? Now, this guy was trying to say that the foundation of my product is, my key customers. If I take them away, the whole thing collapses. And that's stuck. He could not lose his key customers. He was trying to tell his marketing people, our key customers are the most important people in our business. You lose even one key customer, the whole block just topples. So those are just some of the creative ideas that I want to try to think outside the box. So the presentation doesn't have to be, well, you could use PowerPoint and Keynote, but use them creatively, or you could not use them and use something else. Now here's another guy who was talking about how to create, or how to create presentations. He said, your presentation should be able to surprise people. Again, I said, if you're 9 groups, it's nice, 9. Can you imagine if there were 35 groups and number 30 was going up in front of the jury was going, oh my God, number 30, what am I going to do? That number 30 has to be able to do something to get the attention. So these are the types of presentation that we're talking about. You can use text,
You can use pictures. You can use a talking pad. Well, it's not really talking, but you can use video. Well, maybe here if you'll have, I don't know. Most of you have smartphones. You could do a simple video if you wanted to. You could go slideless without slides. You could use stick figures and you could do applied presentation. Let's see what each of them are. If it's only text, see how interesting it gets? You could fall for text. You can do all kinds of things with text. You can do crazy things with text. You can do a lot of crazy things with text. And got a thinking feeling. Like the text is thinking. You can really think out of the box. Then you're talking about cost cutting. So the minute you say that, this is a cost-cutting solution, then suddenly, it sticks in the mind of people watching it. You can use large fonts, but sometimes small fonts can be elegant. It's making a point, as long as it's readable. This is in comparison, relatively to the previous fonts. They could be like a special accent to what you're trying to say. Text of love. Well, it's sort of an inverted love, but you could also make text in such a way that it fills in something that represents your product. One word can explain a lot. So basically, this is peace. The concept of peace. And you feel very calm because everything is aligned. As again, Steve Jobs was saying that people just don't know what they want until you show it to them. That's why you have to be able to show your solution tomorrow in a creative manner. You have to be able to show the jury something that the jury has never seen before. And suddenly they realize, oh my God, this is a solution. This is good. Design, negative, positive. People do a lot of crazy things with text. Time to fall in love again. And seeing a reflection. So it's falling in love again. That's why it's on an angle. Pictures. Pictures are very powerful. People say a picture says 1,000 words. Well, this is a picture of all numbers. That's 1,000 numbers, so to say. And every picture tells a story. For instance, this picture portrays a story. I have a dream. So does this. So does this. So does that. So does that. They all have a dream. All these people are shown in pictures, and they all have a dream. Now, videos, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, videos are worth 30,000 words a second. Okay? That's why visualizing is very impactful. The more you visualize, people say less text, more visuals. But if you can visualize the text like you did before, creative text, that's also a visual impact on your senses. Now, videos, there are several examples of videos that you can see on the internet, YouTube, Vimeo, Flickr, SlideShare. You can see the samples that you're doing, and the people who are very good at making movies in a very short session are advertisers. Advertising agencies only have 30 seconds, right? Am I right? 30 seconds to make an impact to sell a product. And they do that with one movie, only 30 seconds. A lot of work is put into the 30 seconds. You won't believe it. Now, we're not expecting you to be at that level, but what I'm saying, when you start making a presentation, visualize pictures, videos, they really make a lot of impact. So video is easier, it's faster, it's action, it's fun, it's also accessible. In these days, You know, if you're not on the internet, you can download it and keep it in your laptop or even in your smartphone. So videos are actually more accessible. So, not necessarily for this competition, but when you leave this competition, it's one skill that you probably may want to pick up. Because in the future, wherever you go, one point in time you will be presenting something that you're making, or you're doing, or you're writing, or you're reporting. Everybody has to communicate. Franz was talking about communication. Communicating skills also uses presentations, or how you present yourself, how you communicate. Another idea is just to go slideless. That's why I was asking, how many of you do not use PowerPoint or Keynote when you make a presentation? Even Prezi I consider still slides. You could go slideless. Everyone does slides. Teachers, politicians, and preachers, they all use slides. But do they always use slides? No. Politicians never use slides. Preachers don't use slides. Teachers these days, sometimes they go both. Sometimes they feel the slides actually help. So maybe going slideless, don't go topless. Going slideless probably is an idea. But again, English is probably for most of you a second language. So tomorrow, you only have 3 minutes. If you're going to go with just a speech, you have to be really careful. Okay? It's a huge risk. But huge rewards can only happen when you take huge risks. When you go slideless, the audience focuses on you, not on the screen. Okay? Now, there will be about 5 to 6 in each group. Yeah? And we really, well, 4 to 5 or 5 to 6? 4 to 5?
4, yeah.
Okay, 4 to 5. And we really would appreciate it if each of those members actually spoke up or has roles during the presentation. So that means not only one person is going to take over the whole presentation, but each of you will have a role. And when I say a role, it depends on what kind of presentation you have. You could come up with a drama. You could come up with a slideshow. You could come up with a video. You could come up with, I don't know, you could come up with a lot of things. But basically, if you're going to go slideless, you may think about it. Some people do cartoons, stick figures. You know? Like this one here. This guy seems to be lost. They're cute, they're funny, but they make a point. And bad presentations are responsible for my death. So, basically, are you excited about presentations? Oh, wow! Stick figures are very easy. You don't have to be an artist to make them. And to make them really amazing. So, basically, number 6 is the quiet presentation. Now, the quiet presentation takes some skill, because what really happens is they really ask whether we need to speak or not. And what they do is these people create a simple presentation, and they change the slide transition from manual, like what I'm doing right now, to auto. But they time it very carefully. And each of them tell a story. The whole slide process tells a story. And the whole group can be quiet. That's just my idea. It takes a lot of effort, because sometimes then you really have to make impactful slides. Every slide you put has to have an objective. You have to know exactly what that slide is trying to do in itself and in the context of the whole presentation. Sometimes you can add some good music. I don't know if you have time for that, since you only have 24 hours, but it's really good. Last one is a talking pad. The talking pad, well, the modern talking pad, it's actually, what happens is you create a presentation on the book, but I wouldn't see this tomorrow. I don't think I would see something like this tomorrow. Usually this happens when there's this one person who wants to get close to, let's say, the CEO of this bank, and then he sits next to him, he opens his little book there, his talking pad, so to say, and he starts to, show some information, he adds some information, he takes away some information, and he like sort of presents a one-to-one presentation. So it's both can talk about it, both can mark up the little pad, or what they call the talking pad, but it's like a working session. So this is probably not really something that you look at tomorrow, but this is just an alternative of when you want to present something to somebody. If you want to look up, Steve Jobs is probably one of the greatest presenters in time. He always used all kinds of formats. Sometimes he goes slideless. Sometimes he uses texts that are really impactful. Sometimes he uses video, and he also really uses pictures. So choose your presentation type. Think creatively. Think really out of the box. Because those 3 minutes tomorrow, you can either make it or break it. Okay, that's all for now. I hope you success tomorrow in your presentation, and I hope the jury will be interested enough to become an investor in what you're presenting tomorrow as the solution to the challenge. Good luck to you all. Thank you. Any questions? No, because basically I was talking about more on what you shouldn't be doing, but if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask.
Yes.
Are there any, so what, like the fourth thing and the investors, are there any like hard limits where we should go above?
As I said, don't go topless.
You can go sideways, but don't go topless. I don't know, are there any limits? I don't think so. Show me, do we have any limits? No, we don't have any limits. They can present whatever they want to present as long as they can bring it to this room. I don't think you'd be bringing an elephant to this room, would you?
The 3 minutes is the only limit, right?
Yeah, the limit is only the 3 minutes, and the fact that you can bring your prototype into the room, and all 4 or 5 of you will be there and will be playing a role in whatever you're presenting. Yes?
About the spreadsheet itself, you suggest us that we use given the financial model in here, you need by screenshot it and paste it here, or?
I don't have an example because I didn't get one off the net and I didn't have time to make. What I'm saying is, you will be probably calculating on a spreadsheet, right? Usually the best way to visualize it is with a graph, okay? Hans Rosling, if you look him up again in the net, Hans Rosling on TED.com or even in his other videos, he's very good at visualizing graphs, but that takes a lot of effort. And the way he visualizes it actually moves. He actually animates it. But he doesn't over-animate it. Now, maybe for something like 3 minutes, it would be enough just to show the graph. What I was talking about using spreadsheets on a slide was if you're good at making simulations. Simulations means if you input a number here, another number comes out here, so you would like be interacting with the jury or the investors. Like, if let's say this area has 1,000 people, if I put 1,000 people here and they do it every day, the outcome is so much. And that's one way of using a spreadsheet on the PowerPoint, but something that's not dead. It's not standing still. It's moving because it's a simulation.
The table itself that you put into.
If you have a table, you'd rather visualize it. If it's what you call it, a standstill table, then you'd rather visualize it as a graph. A graph can be anything. There are lots of graphs. You have bar graphs. It depends on how you want to present it, and when you present a graph, make sure that graph says something. It's not just a graph of, this is the table of, let's say, so many people in that area that eat hot dogs every day. And then you show a graph. So what? What is the conclusion of that graph? You have to be able to show it on the screen. Let's see if I have something here.
I lost my graph. Okay,
Anyway, when I find something, I'll find out. Any other questions? Are you okay with that? Okay. Any other questions? If not, we're going to go bye-bye. Yes?
If we put some like theory or calculation, will it make the presentation more complicated or it will make the presentation better?
In this enterprise challenge, you're actually making a financial. Yulendra will be sharing with you the basics of how to make a business plan. Within that business plan, there are some calculations. Now, you will need to visualize some of that if you want to show it, because the jury needs to know whether this is viable or not, whether it's feasible or not. So you have to make sure that what you show during the presentation, however you show it, whether it's with calculations or not, first of all, it has to be understood, and it has to show that the project is worth investing in. So basically, when you come into the business plan session, maybe you may want to ask that question. Okay? Any more? We're done for the day? You want to ask something? You're done, you're done. Okay, we're done for that. Okay, so good luck to all. That's it for today.